Okay, so in part 2, we're going to focus on film blur and softness. So we're going to start with opening up Kdenlive, and we're going to change our project settings to 4K, 24 frames a second. And then we're going to import our video from the previous step. So this is assuming you've already got the film color you want, whether it's with LUTs or just adjustments or both. So this is the video from step 1, and this is what we'll be using to make our film blur. I'm going to click cancel on this. Alright, so let's get started. Okay, so we're going to be using this same clip twice to achieve the film blur and softness. You're going to put one right over the top of the other. I would just go ahead and mute the second one's audio because you don't need the audio for both. And then next, go to composition and drag that over. So you're trying to overlay one over the other because the top layer is going to be the film blur and the second layer is, or the bottom layer I should say, is going to be the softness. So we need to go to the overlay composition, and we need to change that to V1. Now as you can see, the contrast is really high now because of the two clips being overlaid, so we need to counteract that with, we're going to add a contrast effect to the top and bottom layer. We're going to set both of the layers to 180, and this should compensate for the contrast. Alright. Now the last effect we're going to add to this is we need to add blur to both layers. So we're going to use the Gaussian blur, if I'm saying that correctly. You're going to add that to the top and the bottom layers, and then we will make adjustments from there. Now I'm just going to collapse the contrast on both of these. Like I said, the top layer will affect the film blur and the bottom layer will affect the film softness. The film blur will be, that's dependent on what kind of film stock you're trying to emulate. So a large format film stock, maybe none. 35 millimeter might be little to none. 16 millimeter, you're going to have some noticeable blur, and then 8 millimeter, definitely noticeable. The softness goes along with that as well. You will notice that it's going to be more or less depending on the size of the film. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to put this at 1 on both of the sigma and vertical sigma. And that's not much, but just enough. So you can see it has the tiniest bit of blur. So that would be a good 16 millimeter. So on the bottom one, for the softness, we might go to 3. And you can see that it's got this little bit of a soft blur to it. So that's what you're trying to achieve to get the film blur, to make it look realistic. You need both of these together. You may have to adjust it as needed depending on what you're trying to do. What I would go ahead and do at this point is I would go ahead and render it. You could save it as a project, but again, I like to render it after each step just so I know that I have it exactly where I want it. Okay, now that that is rendered, this is what we have now. As you can see, it's a little bit softer, a little bit blurry. I'm going to put links to every one of these steps rendered so that you can see the files in their exact format. But that is all for this video. The next video will go over bloom and or glow and halation. So please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.